Hello, custom car enthusiasts, and welcome back to Car Mechanic Simulator 2018. So, I've left the purple monster over on Lift B because actually, even when I was working on the engine here, having it over on Lift A makes it a challenge. I think really it's just that the car is too big for the workshop, pretty much. Wheeler Dealer Shop was never really designed for something this big, so it actually is a challenge there. But I have gone ahead and gotten all the different parts we need for the engine, so we can now go ahead and start putting the parts back onto the engine and hopefully get this car running finally. Once it's up and running, then we can see what's wrong with the alignment, the shocks, everything of that nature on the underneath. So get that in place. Let's go over here to this area and reassemble the new gears, or actually these are the old gears. Didn't need to replace those. I have, as I said, not replaced things that were acceptable as they were, because there was just no point in it, and trying to save the person money here. So a few of the things actually even surprised me, and I'll get to those here in a little bit. Still using the same oil filter, though that I want to check. Is that part of change oil, drain oil, and refill with new? It doesn't say change the oil filter, so we'll use the old one. Put the ignition coil that was here back on. Put the new alternator on. So this engine's going to be about 50-50 new parts and old parts. New power steering pump to it. Old cam gear. Actually, new cam gear. New timing chain. New timing cover here. New water pump. New crankshaft pulley. So it seems like right now we're getting a lot of new stuff. New serpentine belts. Water pulley pump. New radiator fan. But now we're going to start getting into some of the stuff that was still the old stuff. So the old engine heads. Didn't replace them. They were fine the way they were. Save some money that way. The old exhaust manifolds. Nasty as they look, still work perfectly fine, so we're leaving them the way they are. Did replace all the spark plugs because there were some that were damaged, and so they all are replaced. Now here's one that surprised me. All the valve push rods were okay. They aren't great, but they're okay. So I made the decision to try to save the guy on cost, and we kept all the old valve push rods here. So a little bit different. Generally I would replace them, but this guy did basically say just get it up and running so that it passes, and that's what we're doing. We did replace all the rocker arms here for him, so those are brand new. So as I said, really the engine's going to be about 50-50 as far as new parts versus old, I would say. It's going to look fairly decent overall because a lot of the dressing up on the top and on the front of it has been replaced there. So it's got the new water pulley, water pump and pulleys, new belts, new radiator fan. But sort of the bigger chunks of metal that really can add up as far as the price are still the same. Because they're good enough, and so if that's what he wants is good enough, then that's what we're going to give him. As I said, new spark plugs on this side as well, so they're all new. To me, it's just sort of a common sense. If you break down an engine at all, you might as well replace the spark plugs. We left the old ignition wires though, because they were still serviceable, so we're going to go with them. Put in the old valve push rods here, and then we'll put the new rocker arms on top. As I said, now if this is a car I was building for like one of my barn finds that I wanted to be put up at auction and stuff, this would not be acceptable to me. But we'll see what I think when I get there. But we do have the new intake manifold, brand new, right out of the box. New carb to go on top of it, also brand new. New air filter pieces overall, including the air filter itself. And there we have it. So it truly is a 50-50 engine. You can definitely see some rust, but you can also see some new parts to it there. So let's make sure we got everything here. Yeah, everything that goes into that portion is all replaced. Now let's head back over to the car here. Let's see about putting this in car lifter B and see if we have an easier time with it, because we really struggled in the last episode of using it to take apart the engine. So hopefully now, whoop, don't want to do that. There we go. There we go. Works better there. Alright, so it worked fine. Let's go ahead and move it back to where it goes. That's back in. Now let's add the parts around it, including the radiator we got. Brand new radiator for it. Perfect. New brake servo. That's good to go. Let's get the fuel tank put back in. Still the old fuel tank, but we do have a new fuel pump here. So that's in place. Get the old gearbox put in. Since I did have to take it off, I do know this gearbox is actually good, so even though it doesn't look good, it will work. Alright, so the drive shaft's put back in. Now I believe we should be out of parts to put into this car. Yep. Alright, so with that, let's go ahead and lower it down here. We've got a filler with oil, and then we will see about running this engine on the test path. And this time, it's not just to hear the engine run, but it's actually to test out the actual car. Alright. So we got oil into the engine. Let's close that hood. Let's take this car over to the test path. The fact that it went over there says that the engine does run now, so that's a good start for us. Alright, brakes on the front are passable. Brakes on the back are iffy. Front suspension, I'm guessing is okay. Looks like it is. Back suspension, I'm guessing is not. And I would be correct with that. Alright. So, before we do anything else, let's see, do I now have all the parts marked? No, I'm still missing some parts that I need to discover. So I'm going to take the car out onto the test track and see if I discover those other parts, just to make my life easier. We'll see if it works or not. As I said, they call this a Luxor, but really it's a caddie, is I'm fairly sure what it's supposed to be. And it is a big old boat. We got some speed going with it though, so that's a good thing. A little bit all over the road. Hope you don't get seasick. Yep. I scraped it up a little bit there. Not that anyone will notice with how damaged it already looks. Alright, let's see what we found. Alright, definitely the leaf springs are shot. So let's go ahead and put this onto the lift that I prefer now that we don't need to worry about the engine stuff. Right, move it to lift A. See if we've got all the parts marked now, or do we still have things undiscovered? Still have things undiscovered. Alright. Really, it looks like all the issues pretty much stem from the back. So that's what I'm going to sort of assume, and I'm assuming there's going to be some of these gray parts that are going to be also part of the problem. So we're going to disassemble the entirety of the back end here. See if that gets us where we need to be. We knew we had to replace the back tires already. Looks like the back rims might need to come off too. Yeah, just all of this needs to go. Looks like the entire back end is pretty much rusted almost off. The only thing that's probably still usable is the wheel hubs here. Oh, got to retake off the drive shaft. Alright. Now do we have everything sort of marked? Yeah, pretty much everything was. It was just all the back end there. So we're going to take the tires, we're going to separate them, because both pieces are going to be garbage, but we'll get new ones to replace them. And then, as I normally do, I will go ahead and take care of replacing any of these parts before the next episode. That way we can go ahead and put it back together when we come back in the next episode. See if there's anything here as far as these. No. Alright, so basically just have a laundry list of items here. that pretty much it all needs to be replaced. Brake shoes actually are not bad, so we can keep those. The wheel cylinders are all right as well as the drive shaft. We knew that would be. So really, it's most of it's all duplicate stuff I needed to replace anyways. Really, it won't be too bad. Take me a little bit of time here to purchase that stuff. The worst part is always getting these tires and such because trying to find these specific tires always is a fight. So I will do that. As I said, next episode then we'll go ahead and come in here and we'll go ahead and finish this car off, hopefully. With that in mind, if you enjoyed what I did in this episode, please go ahead and click that like button. If you've not already, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon, so that you're aware when I produce new videos in the future. Thank you, and I hope to see you all again for more Car Mechanic Simulator 2018.